ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ईशावास्यम् idagum sarvam. How do you see Ishvara in what is? I see people, I see book, I see lights, I see desks, I see everything but Ishvara. Correct? And only if you go to the temple you see Ishvara. Correct? That's how we normally look at things. So if that is what is Ishvara, if Ishvara is confined to a temple, there is no way you can say Ishavasyam idam sarvam. That would only be an imagination. What is imagination? What is not, you imagine. Right? That is adhyasa. So you imagine something which is not there. Sometimes we ask for deliberate imagination. Like what? You go to Dakshinamurti temple. You say that is Ishvara. I'll ask you, what did the sculptor start with? One block of stone. I'll show you the same block of stone outside. Will it be Ishvara or not? No, it's not Ishvara. Why? Not in that form. Correct? So, in that stone alone you are seeing Ishvara. Why do you see Ishvara there? Because we have that tradition where we say, it's not that we don't know it's a stone, but we are able to invoke Dakshinamurti. This is at least a visible form. What about Salagrama? You know what is Salagrama? You have a stone coming from Gandaki river. And what is the speciality of that stone? If you were to break it open, which we don't, what would you find? A Shankha Chakra you might find, either both or one of them. The belief is it is there. And what is Shankha and Chakra? It is associated with Vishnu. Therefore, that stone becomes what? You invoke Vishnu in that stone. Salagrame, no? Vishnu Buddhi. So therefore you do that. So in this way, we can invoke Ishvara, that is deliberately looking at something. We know it's a stone, but we look upon it as Ishvara. And it is not wrong. Why? Because if everything is Ishvara, I can always invoke Ishvara in anything. I don't need to go to Salagrama. I can invoke Ishvara in this pot. Correct? You also do that at home. Kalasha Puja. Right? Or if you see in Kerala you have the lamps. What do they do in the lamp? In the lamp, you invoke Ishvara. How can you, or go further, Ganapati. What is Ganapati? Is typical one lump of turmeric, which is not shaped like Ganapati necessarily, or even a supari. One betel nut you put, and that is Ganapati. How did that become Ganapati? It seems like wherever you wish, you can say this is Bhagavan. Right? And that is what we say, Asmin Bimbe. Right? In this particular location, Asmin Kalashe, in the Kalasha, what do you do? Ishvaram Aradhayami, Avahayami, I invite him. And then what do I tell him? Avahito Bhava. You please stay here. Sthapito Bhava. Suprasanno Bhava. Be pleased here. Varado Bhava. Be blessing me. Don't just sit here. Right? Mama Sarva Abhishta Phalaprado Bhava. Please fulfill all my ambitions. How this pot will fulfill all my ambitions? A pot. How will it do it? It's not a pot anymore. Now what has happened? Ishvara has come. And I will say, Yavat Puja Vasanakam. Until puja is going on, Tavat, until then, Preeti Bhavena, being pleased, Bimbe asmin, in this form, sannidhim kuru. You please stay here. Blessing me, you stay here. It is bhavana. The same pot 5 minutes ago was in your cupboard. If it's silver pot, very safely in your, thing. You took it out, you washed it, you put some alankara you do. Why do you do alankara to a kalasha? It is not kalasha. It is Ishvara. Right? So now, in that I make a prayer. Somebody says, you only worship stones and vessels. Are we worshipping stones? Are we worshipping a vessel? Are we worshipping mud? What are we worshipping? Ishvara. How can I invoke Ishvara here? When Ishavasyam idam sarvam is our vision, that vision translates to what? In this. Not only in this, there is, Kumari Puja. You bring a little girl and you offer worship to her. Then there is Athithi Puja. A guest comes home, you do puja. Brahmachari Puja. Brahmachari is coming, young fellow, 10 years old, just had his, thread ceremony. Do puja to him. How you can do all this? And when you have a marriage of a daughter, what do? You worship the son-in-law. Father-in-law to be will come and wash the feet. How? Older, younger? He is Bhagavan right now. So we are able to invoke Bhagavan in anything. How? We don't understand, but what we have inherited, all that is here is Ishvara. We don't know, but that knowledge alone is coming in the form. Right? So now, logically, it doesn't seem to make sense. Belief is there. And if you have been born in this culture, it comes without effort. Right? It's come to us. But why, how, we don't know. If somebody asks also, we can't answer necessarily. Not always, right? So now, in this pursuit, what do? We don't want Ishavasyamidam Sarvam to be a belief. That won't bless us all the way. What do we want? We want it to be understanding. Ishvara to us is not a subject matter for belief. Then what is Ishvara? It is something to be understood. Why do you say that? You say Ishvara is to be believed. I say it's not belief. How? I say all that is here is Ishvara. So you mean this pot is Ishvara? Yes, it is Ishvara. You can only say how. You cannot say Ishvara doesn't exist. It is to be understood. Right? And what did we see yesterday? We saw Mama Maya Duratyaya. So Ishvara he's a magician. And what is magic? Non-separate from the magician is magic. Any Shakti, any capacity you have is within you, not always manifest. So someone the other day said they do painting. Right? Somebody here, I don't remember who. Somebody said they do painting. So if you do painting, is it apparent by looking at you? No. Somebody else, maybe an accountant. Is it apparent by looking at a person's face? No. Somebody is a physician. Do we know? We don't. How do you know? Somebody is putting rangoli. How do you know they put? Karya numeya. You look at what is done and you say, oh, this is the work of somebody. Correct? Now you see this pot. Right? So I tell you, this pot, if you go near Murugan temple, you dig around, you get these in the earth. They come out of the earth. Are you willing to believe it or not? You just go and dig as many pots as you want, you will get. Are you going to believe it? No. Why not? Why shouldn't this be pot coming out of the earth? Does it just appear somewhere? So you say what? No, it has been made. Why do you say it's made? Prior knowledge is different. I'm just saying, why do you think it's made? You see something in it, right? So now let's say it's made. We agree it's made. What do you need to make it? Is that enough? I will give you all clay. How many pots will I get? You need a potter. So what is the pot really now? Let's understand what's the pot, right? It's got a material, what you call a material. What's the material? Clay, right? And then what else does it got? Shape and form. But what does that mean? Okay, let's say now you have a salwar kameez, right? Dress. I like that example better for now. So, salwar kameez, how do you make it? Who makes it? A tailor, right? So, what does the tailor require? Fabric, right? You have a fabric, and what is a tailor really? Is there a person called a tailor, or can anyone be a tailor really? Who will be called a tailor? One who has the knowledge to make a dress will be called a tailor. He has to be able to cut, conceptualize, cut, stitch, right? So what are the two things required to make your dress? A material and knowledge. Material and knowledge. So two things. So we say one is called a material cause. Upadana karanam. What is the second cause? An intelligent person who can make it. Knowledge means intelligent person. He is called nimitta karanam. A maker. Nimitta karanam. Now I ask you, so we have these two causes. What is the fabric now for your dress? It is a raw material, all right. How did fabric come? So is fabric just, can I dig it again in the corner of Gurukulam, or does it come somewhere? It's again put together. Can I say? It is put together. It was not there, it has been brought into existence. Fair? How do you get fabric? Now, what is involvement of fabric now? What do you need to make fabric? You need threads. Okay, you need threads, let us say. So threads you need. That's the material cause. Correct? And what do you need further? The knowledge to convert the cotton into fabric. Correct? So now, come back to the dress. Dress required what? Material and knowledge. Right? Now, what does cotton require again? What does the fabric require again? Material and knowledge. What happened to what you called a material? What happened to the fabric? Is it a material now? It is a material from one perspective. Looking at the dress, it's a material cause. But looking at material itself, it's not a cause in itself. It is itself an effect, right? It got created from yarn, from threads. Now, is thread something which is a material really? What is it? It is also born. It came in time. Let's call it a karya, an effect. And what is the cause called in Sanskritam? Karanam. So, you look at the whole universe as what? Whatever is there, does it just happen, or do you think there is a cause behind it? There is a cause. So, what is the Jagat? It is Karyam. One pot, one dress is enough to show that. Right? You want to go one step further, we can do. Now you go to the fabric, we went to thread. What about thread? Does it have a cause? Yes. Therefore, thread is what again? Material plus knowledge. Material plus knowledge. Right? What is that now? Cotton. Is that the last word? Where did cotton come from? From a plant. Swamiji, that is natural. Right? But you tell me, how did cotton plant come? You have a cotton plant, and next to it you have what? A mango plant. And next to it you have one Karela plant also. Right? Karela gives you what? Very tasty, bitter gourd. Right? And what does mango give you? Sweet mango. What does cotton give you? Not eatable stuff, some fluffy stuff. Correct? Now, what is all of them? Are they the final things? Where did they get it from? From the earth. Right? So, earth plus knowledge to create or bring out these plants. Where is the knowledge? Where is the knowledge? Is it in earth? See, where is the potter's knowledge? Where is the dressmaker's knowledge? In the dressmaker? Agreed? Where is the fabric maker's knowledge? In the person who makes the fabric? It's not in the fabric, right? But the fabric must allow. See, you can't make a fabric out of clay. The material must allow its conversion to a given form. Correct? But you need the knowledge. And where does knowledge reside? Does it reside in the fabric? Does it reside in the threads? Where does it reside? In the maker. Who is the maker? Has to be a sentient being. Right? Knowledge is only in a sentient being. Knowledge cannot be in something which is insentient, so to say. Right? That's how we see things. Correct? What does sentience require? When do you say something is sentient? Conscious. And what is consciousness? Where do you recognize it? I. Can you recognize it elsewhere? No. So all knowledge, any knowledge, must reside where? Must reside where? In a conscious being. Let's start with a conscious being. You have knowledge, I have knowledge, she has knowledge, he has knowledge, right? Now I ask you, whatever knowledge you have, how did you get it? Whatever knowledge you have, take any knowledge you have, okay? How did you get it? Suppose you know, what is this? You are all very, very intelligent people. What is this? Huh? Flower. Flower, yes. Bottle, no. Okay. Flower. Okay. Bottle is also okay, equally good, but flower. How do you know it's a flower? Huh? Past experience. How did you get the past experience? First time, how did you know the flower? Somebody told you it's a flower. Good. Somebody told him it's a flower. How did that somebody know it's a flower? How did that somebody else know it's a flower? How did the first fellow discover a flower? He gave a name, okay? He saw something, he gave a name. Fair? He saw this first time. He said, oh, one name came. You know, that's the name. Oh is the name now. It could be anything, right? He was amazed at seeing this. Could be anything. It's a name. A name is what? A sound symbol for some understanding in his head, so that he can communicate. So he can tell his son, go and get, oh, then he'll go and get this. That's what you need. You don't need anything more. Right? So where is knowledge? In some. Now, but that knowledge is, by seeing the flower, you gain the knowledge what is a flower. And now you could tell your child, hey, this is a flower, this is a lily. It's different from a rose. You have that much knowledge. Correct? But the point is, this lily is to be lily. It requires what? A material and knowledge. Who has that knowledge to make the lily? It must be in a conscious being. In this way, you look at anything now. You start with anything. Suppose you say, I have the knowledge of medicine. Where do you get it from? You're a doctor. Where do you get it from? From my teacher. Where did he get it from? From his teacher. You keep going back. You take one little bone. Where did knowledge come from? One cell. No, I observed in the microscope. Okay, good. You observed in the microscope. Who made the microscope? Others made it. Good. Now the point is, to observe, you have eyes. Eyes are what? Are the eyes always there? Or are eyes born as a child grows up in the womb? When first a child is conceived, you have eyes, you have nose, what do you have? One cell. One cell. Then what do you have? More cells. Right? And they are called what in the beginning? Stem cells. What are stem cells? They can modify into any organ. They can become brain, they can become liver, they can become kidney. Same cell, no difference. That's why they want to harvest stem cells. right? But what makes the stem cell, one cell becomes the brain, one becomes the eye? What makes it happen? Where is the knowledge for it? Where is the knowledge for it? Does the mother have the knowledge? My mother knew how to make my brain. No, nobody's mother knows it. Does father have the knowledge? Who has the knowledge? We have to find a place for knowledge, right? And knowledge is always where? In a conscious being, right? So, in order to produce the eyes with which you observe the world, the ears by which you hear things, the nose by which you smell, the tongue by which you taste, and what is remaining? The skin by which you sense. Is there any other means of knowledge you have to start with? No. All of these are given to you. And all of these are not ever there. They were born out of, yesterday you saw what? Dal chawal. Your food alone has become all this, right? How did food get converted to all this? Knowledge. So much knowledge has to be there. And that knowledge is not in my grandfather or great-grandfather or great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, right? Then where did knowledge come from? It all exists, which means when the world exists, the knowledge for all this must exist. If there's a pot, you're very clear, I couldn't dig it up. So what does it mean? It is put together. And how put together? Not randomly. Right? What is this? A flower. Now I'm going to do some work, okay? Is this flower? This flower? So when you want flowers, we'll sell you this. Are you okay with that? Is this flower or not? That is your business. I am asking you, is this flower or not? It's not flower. Is this flower? No? Okay. Is this flower? Now? Is this flower? Where is flower? Where is flower? I didn't do anything. It's all here. Where is flower? Now, you tell me what is flower then. All together, right? Okay. Is this flower? All together. Yes or no? Particular shape. Where is that shape? In the flower? Where is the shape? Where is the flower first? To talk flower, I want to ask you what is flower. Define flower. Can you define flower? This is flower. This is also flower. What is flower? Where is flowerness? Where is flowerness? Okay, she says flower is that which has flowerness. Where is flowerness? There are two possibilities, all right? 1 second. Where is flowerness? It can either belong to a flower or it should belong to a non-flower. Let's forget about observer for now. Non-flower. Either it belongs to a flower or a non-flower. Now I ask you, does flowerness belong to a flower or non-flower? Think carefully, okay? You have to be alive and alert. Does flowerness belong to a flower or non-flower? Is there flowerness in this? No. Is there flowerness in this? Yes. Good. So where does flowerness belong right now? To a flower. How do you know flowerness without having a flower first? Without having a flower, you say flower has flowerness. Then I'll ask you, how do you get the first flower? Now what do you have to grudgingly admit to? You have to say, non-flower has flowerness. Non-flower, does it have flowerness? Then where is flowerness? Non-flower, non-book, non-pot, non-cloth, non-pretending grapes, non-grapes, non-everything alone has flowerness. That is called nirguna. Because only a formless can take any form. Once you have one form, it automatically excludes any other form. This is a bottle. Therefore, it is not a cup. It's not a plate. This is a pot. Therefore, it is not a lid. It's a pot of this size. It's not a pot of this size. Do you see how a form restricts? Every form is a knowledge of one form. And that knowledge, you gleaned it by observing the form. But the form itself to be, the knowledge must exist. In what? In a formless entity. And what kind of an entity? A conscious entity. Knowledge means conscious entity. Therefore, what should be the cause of the entire Jagat? To make our simple puri and chapati, you need formless atta. If it has a form, you can't make it. No, Gujaratis will make what? One bhakri, right? Then they'll make one roti, and then something else, what khakra, right? You make all these things from where? One atta. So better atta not be any of them, right? If it's any one of them, you can't make the rest. Correct? Therefore, if this is true of this, then whole Jagat of names and forms requires what? A formless cause, right, with intelligence. And if there is only one Ishavasyamidam Sarvam, only one cause, you cannot have a separate maker and material. You cannot extend the logic you see that when I see a pot, it requires what? A material and a maker. Cloth, material and maker. Fabric, material and maker. You extend it all the way, what will happen? You will always need a material. So if there is a maker, he will have to get material from where? So you need what? He must find material lying around. If he finds material lying around, then he is not the cause for everything. You cannot have one cause. So what does Veda have to say? When we say Ishavasyamidam Sarvam, it means there is only one cause, which is both maker and material. Swamiji, how about other things? Tailor is there, cloth is there, but he needs a needle to sew. How about that? We call it Sahakari Karanam. Extra. What is that? That is also it's also an effect. So it also requires what? Maker and material. So where will it all end finally? Maker material. Where will maker material end in? One single cause. And that one single cause is called what? Ishvara. Okay? Now, what are you saying here? What are you saying here? You can see a pot. Fair enough. I'm not saying no. Because that's how we do Vyavahara. Right? There's a pot. But you look further, what do you see? Clay. You look further, what do you see? You better see Ishvara now. Because without clay, there is no pot. Without a cause, there is no effect. What is the cause of all that is here? So, where should you look for clay? Now, Swamiji, I am wanting to see clay. Can you show me clay? Yes. No, Swamiji, that's a pot. Show me clay. Where should I show you? I'll show you. Okay. Clay. Swamiji, that is also not clay. Okay. Clay. Accepted? Hey, this also came from clay. Don't forget. I will show next one. Clay. Do you accept or not? I told you. What did I say yesterday? Mati kahe kumhar ko, tu kya ronde mohe. Right? This body came from where? Clay. Where is it going back to? Clay. Why is this not clay? And you want to know where is clay. What should I tell you? Clay is here. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. And if you don't see that too, we are in even bigger trouble. Right? Then, agle class mein aana. Alright? Don't come to this class, come to the next class. So the point is what? While seeing the pot, you should say what? I see Ishvara. While seeing anything, what should I say? I see Ishvara. But Swami, what about Dakshinamurti? That's a tradition wherein to start with, I can recognize Asti Ishvaraha. There is Ishvara. A conscious being who is what? All-knowing. Now you understand what is all-knowing? All knowledge comes from him. How can that be, Swamiji? I don't still understand. Go back to your sleep. And from there what comes? A dream. In your dream, whatever is there, who is the material? Did you bring some space, time, and you create a dream? Who is the material for a dream? You. Where is the knowledge for the dream? Yourself. Are you abhinna nimitta upadana karanam? Single maker and material? Yes. So what is your whole dream world? You. Right? Now in your dream there is a fellow who asks, where did this world come from? I tell him there is one guy sitting in heaven. Is that correct? Upar baitha hai. You know, nowadays in India, upar wala. What is upar wala? Separate, not around. Right? So what do you say? Bhagwan doesn't even look at us. So our prayer is what? May Bhagwan look at me from the corner of his eyes. No, Kadakann. What do you call that? Right? You have to look from the... Why? Because if he looks, your life is made. So you make sure you look at Bhagwan like this, and you show yourself, Bhagwan has seen you or not. Now I have the grace. That's how we look at it. Grace is needed. Grace is needed. But what do we take Bhagwan to be? One fellow who looks at me sometimes and generally doesn't look at me. Right? So, if I go more often, maybe one time he'll look at me. Somebody once told me, we go to Sringeri, you go to the Acharya, he gives, he's a jnani, he's giving, but how do people look at him? If you get his darshanam, you are blessed. Further, if he looks at you straight in the eye, your life is made. Can it be made by his looking at your eyes? I told you about Chinmayananji Swami yesterday, right? Keep the hand on the head. Why? It will solve all my problems. Then what did Swamiji say? If my hand had so much power, I would keep my hand on my own head first. So understand what you are trying to see here. The knowledge is what makes him respectable. Not his look, not his hands. Hands may have something, but that is anugraha. We'll get there. So now, we first understand what is Ishvara, we want to understand. See, because grace comes from where? If everything is Ishvara, grace comes from where? Ishvara. Your body is grace. Your mind is grace. Your eyes are grace. That you can ask this question is grace. It's all grace. There's nothing but grace. If you go to Swamiji's gallery, you will see his statement. Everything is grace. Ishvara's grace. Guru's grace. Tarananji's grace. Chinmayananji's grace. Right? Pranavananji's grace. What does it mean? Did they all touch his head? No. The knowledge that they gave him is the knowledge. See, when we say knowledge, you understand. We are talking of knowledge as that due to which knowledge is possible. You understand the word knowledge now? Any knowledge happens in a conscious being. Correct? What is conscious being now? Is there two things called conscious and being? Can you separate conscious and being? Try. Try separating knowing and being. Conscious, how do you understand consciousness? You tell me. Is there any other way except I am conscious? And when you say I am conscious, am came or not? I am. What is am? Being. Am is being. And am is only known by what? Because you are evident. So evidence and existence, can you separate them? You can't. That's conscious being. Now, anything which you call knowledge is a thought. Right? A thought of a form. Pot knowledge means what? Pot means what? Pot knowledge. Grapes knowledge. Book knowledge. Each time you say this, you notice what's happening now. Pot knowledge. When you see clip knowledge, what happened to pot knowledge? What happened to pot knowledge? Displaced or not? Whole knowledge is now what? Clip. Now, what happened to the previous one? Displaced. Good. Now, what knowledge? No, I am showing myself here. This fellow, this pot. Samya. What happened to clock? Displaced. When these are getting displaced, is there something which is continuous? Can you tell me what all you saw in a series? You can. What is that which didn't get displaced? What didn't get displaced? This got displaced. Pot knowledge got displaced. Book knowledge got displaced. Grape knowledge got displaced. Who is looking at all these knowledges being displaced one after the other? What is that knowledge? Displaced or not displaced? Not displaced. You went to sleep. What happened to that? What happened to that? Displaced. Displaced. You woke up again. Then what did you say? I had a good sleep. How do you know what knows that you were asleep? Something is present, right? Who was present? I was present. Even when you don't have a subject-object experience, that knowing capacity to know that there are no subject objects is sleep. You understand? No subject, no object. Do you know it or not? In sleep, it was not there. You wake up and say. Why do you have to wake up to it? Because to say you need a subject. You need an object. But what is? What is only one knowledge consciousness, if I can call it that. These are words, okay? The word knowledge has to go. The word existence has to go. What remains? I am. No consciousness. Consciousness is another word. Every word creates an impression in your mind. Any impression which comes with the mind goes to the mind. What doesn't come and go with the mind? What knowledge is not knowledge of the mind? What does Vedanta do? It removes all what you think is right, it removes the knowledge. So I like to always say Vedanta is not so much learning, it is unlearning. You have to unlearn a lot of things. You unlearn what you think you are. You unlearn what you think is realities of the world. You think what you see is real, we dismissed that yesterday. Right? So you think there is something called, you need two things, cause and effect. Cause is what? Is this a cause or it is an effect? Is water, is rain cause or effect? Is cloud cause or effect? What did you see yesterday? It depends on what is your context. If you are looking at rain, you say cause is cloud. If you are looking at cloud, you say cause is water. Right? So what is cause, what is effect? It is your context. Are you a mother or are you a daughter? You are a mother. Are you a sister or a mother? Both. If you are both of them are context, right? See, you cannot have two things. One reality cannot be two things. If there are two realities, right? So now, what is this? Pot. What is this? No, pot, right? What is this? Pot. Different views. When you study engineering, what do? You have what's called an engineering drawing. If you build a house, what do? You go to an architect. What does he give you? A plan, a floor plan. Then what else does he give you? Elevation. What is elevation? Front view, perspective view, right? What do all of these do for you? Isometric view, yes. If you talk engineering, you'll talk isometric views as well, correct? So now, what do all these views finally give you? You understand, even without seeing your house, you are able to conceptualize, even depth, what kind of house you are going to have, correct? But now, is the floor plan the house? Is the elevation the house? Is the perspective view the house? Isometric is the house? What is the house? House is known to you. What are all these? Ways of looking at the house. Correct? They are all ways of looking at the house. Same house. Now I ask you, what is this? A lily, a flower. How? You see with your eyes. Suppose you didn't have eyes. Would you be able to say it's lily or not? A blind person, can he say it's lily or not? How? Smell. Suppose you lost your sense of smell. He could probably still say, not definitive, but assuming it has, see, a person who has a loss of one sense is very sensitive with others. Right? Now you tell me, is the lily a look? Is the lily a smell? Is the lily a touch? What is the lily? A lily is something which has liliness, which includes a lily smell, a lily touch, a lily taste if you want to eat it. You know, you have lotus eaters. So you can have taste also. Nothing is wrong with that. Right? Now the question is, what has the smell, taste, touch? Is it one thing or different things? One thing. Right? A mango has got mango look, mango touch, mango taste, mango smell. Right? What is it? What is it which has mangoness? One conscious being. Cause of all has that knowledge. When that knowledge expresses itself, just like in sleep, you wake up in your dream, one conscious being expresses as all that is here. Do you see the possibility of how one alone can be all? And does it include sentient, insentient? In your dream you have a mountain, and you have a fellow climbing the mountain, mountaineer, climbed all the mountains. Right? Is there a difference between the two or not? In the dream, there's a chetana, a conscious being, a living being who is climbing the mountain. And what's the mountain? Jada, insentient, non-feeling. But when you look at the cause of the dream, is there a difference between the two? Is the mountain not the conscious being? The clothes that the fellow is wearing, climbing the mountain, all the gear, is that not the conscious being? The fellow mountaineers that he sees, is it not the same conscious being? The emotions of each person in that team climbing, there's a team leader, others are following. Are they all not the same conscious being? Knowledge of one conscious being. What is this one conscious being? Drop the dream. What is right now? One conscious being. Where is he? Will you ask me where he is now? Whatever you see is conscious being. Close your eyes, conscious being. Open your eyes, conscious being. Close, check. What happened? Knowledge came. When you opened your eyes, knowledge came. You turn your face. See what happens. Turn your face. What will you see? Are you displaced, or is the knowledge that you had got displaced? Knowledge got displaced. Did you get displaced? When you slept, did you get displaced? When you dreamt, did you get displaced? What is death? Long sleep. Right? So in sleep, if you're not displaced, in death are you displaced? What is death? Just a change of expression is not there. What's the problem with death? You remain. If this is what you understand, then you tell me, where is Ishvara? What is Ishvara? Can you say Ishvara is located in the temple? Only? Temple also is Ishvara, no question. Then why temple? Because in the beginning I cannot see everything is Ishvara. Shastra helps me by saying, Asti Ishvara. There is Ishvara. There is Ishvara. Even you go to a temple, what do you see first in a temple? Typical temple, not our modern temple, okay? Our temple is a little too modern now. There are no, focus lamps. In a normal temple, how do you know there's a temple? How do you know there's Bhagwan? You have a lamp burning inside. One lamp. One miserable lamp. Miserable why? Not enough light. But enough light to reveal some form. Right? And on the form, you go to, Kanchi Kamakshi or, Sringeri, go to Sharadamba. What do you see? You've been there. Some of you, I'm sure, have been there. What do you see? Do you see nothing or do you see something? You see her nose ring is shining. Her earrings are shining. These are all her vibhutis, ornaments. They're all shining. And when it all shines, what do you understand? Asti. Devi Asti. These are all her glories. They're shining. Now you want to see Bhagavan fully. What do? Karpura Arati. Right? What do they show you? Dekho. See now. We're doing Arati. So, lot of noise is made. Get your attention. See, so much noise, you should get disturbed. But what happens? It jams out everything else. You only have now, you're looking now. You're just looking. What do you see? Whatever you do, you do whatever your convention is, you do. Right? But you do. What do you see though? What do you see? You see the whole form. For how long? For a few seconds. Now, the light is again, the camphor is gone. What do you see? You know there is Devi now, right? Do you have to keep looking at Devi to know she exists? You need to only recognize once what is. Right? Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam. Bhagavan is not lit up by your lamp, okay? Nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi. This little miserable lamp, Karpura Arati, will not light him up. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. That Ishvara's light lights up this buddhi, lights up the mind, lights up my eyes, and lights up the whole world. That Ishvara I want to know. And what does this Karpura, what does it do? It burns. And then what happens to the Karpura, the camphor? It vanishes. What does your buddhi do? It reveals Ishvara to you, and that vritti is gone. See, when I say pot, one thought, one frame, right? Like your one click with your selfie. One. Swamiji, one more. Two. Each one is a separate click. Separate. It's gone. But once you know, the clicks may change, but what is not forgotten. Swamiji, how to remember Bhagavan? You cannot remember Bhagavan. If you want to remember Bhagavan as a form, you have to remember. Because there are so many forms which swamp out Bhagavan. But if you can see in every form the presence of Ishvara, how will you not see Ishvara? How can you not see Ishvara? You say, I don't see Ishvara. I ask you, how can you not see Ishvara? You may not see a pot. Because when you see a book, you don't see a pot. When you see this dress, you don't see a book. But can you miss Ishvara? How to see Swamiji? It is self-evident, self-existent Ishvara. This is one level of understanding. This is one level of understanding. But then, Swamiji, what about all this? How do I tap grace? What is grace? Grace is Ishvara. Tapper of grace is what? Ishvara. Swamiji, if I knew all that is Ishvara, I would not be asking for grace. But right now, I don't have that understanding. I am unable to see it clearly. How do I grow into it? Now I have to help you. Ishvara has to help us to be able to recognize Ishvara more in Vyavahara. Correct? So what do we present Ishvara as? All knowledge. Any object is knowledge. All knowledge. Now, all knowledge seems too broad to understand. Now you understand, this is Pujya Swamiji's brilliant way of making Ishvara clear. Because I have not seen another person who did that. See, Shastras will present you a model. They will talk of, see, Shastra has it all. What do we say? Sahasra Shirsha Purusha. Have you heard this? Does it sound familiar? Where do you hear this? Purusha Sukta. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha. Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. What does it mean? God has 1,000 heads. Then, how many eyes? Sahasraksha. Then, how many feet? Sahasrapat. What? Bhagavan is what? Blind in one eye and lame in one leg or what? No. The 1,000 doesn't mean 1,000. It means infinite. It means every head is Ishvara. Every leg is Ishvara. Every eye is Ishvara. Sabhumim vishpato vritva atyatishthad dashangulam. He covers the whole earth. Ishavasyam, covers. And then what? Stands above. How much? Dasha angulam. 10 fingers above. What do you mean by 10 fingers above? This is a pot. Yes? What is it? I say it's clay. Clay is all there is. Pot is only a name. When we have to get pots, okay? Now clay is also a name, but for now clay is our Bhagavan, okay, for pot. Bhagavan for clay, pot is clay. Now, pot is clay, but is clay pot? Okay, when you think, can you imagine a pot without a material? Don't have to make a pot. Imagine a pot without a material. Can you oblige me? Imagine a dress without a material. You can't. Now, you think of clay. Can you think of clay? Yes. Did you think of a pot? No. Did you have to think of a pot to think of clay? No. But did you have to think of clay without which you can't think of pot? You have to. Now, what is the relationship between pot and clay? Is there a relationship? Pot is clay. Therefore, clay is pot. Is that correct? No. Pot is clay, but what is clay? Clay is not pot. Clay is not cup. Clay is not plate. Clay is not chinaware. Clay is not this. What's inside? There is also clay, but that is not clay alone. What is clay? Your understanding of clay is separate. This is called Atyatishthad Dashangulam. Satyam and Mithya. One is real, one is an appearance. The appearance has no being other than reality. Yet, appearance is there. And that which recognizes appearance is given. You can't gainsay it, you can't deny it. This is our experience. We see the world in a fivefold way. Right? So Shastra also talks of it. Right? And then they will say, what in Gita, what do you study? Vishvarupa Darshanam. Arjuna wants to see, show me. I want to see you how you are. Then what does he see? He saw Vishvarupa. How? Standing apart. He saw Bhagavan standing apart. Then what happened? I can't see you. I can't handle it anymore. Come back to your normal form. Why? Because this is overwhelming. I remain other than you. Even if you see Bhagavan as Vishvarupa, you will want to escape from that Bhagavan. Arjuna is our example. Why? Because I exclude myself. Then when will you be able to enjoy Bhagavan? When you don't exclude anything, including what you call I. Tyagena eke. Right? Amritattva manashu. Hear what I'm saying? Tat tyaktena bhunjita. What is the tyaga? What should you give up? Tyagena bhunjita. What is the tyaga? You let go the appearances, the costume. This is a costume of clay. This is another costume of clay. This is another costume of clay. It's a costume. You drop the costume. Doesn't mean you drop what's wearing the costume. Correct? So you appreciate now what? Tyaga is what? You give up this commitment for what the names and forms which are revealed by our senses and your mind. The mind itself is a name and a form. When that is not operative, you still are around or not? When we say you do nothing, you do a japa, you drop it, you just be, what are you? What form are you at that time? You are, but do you have a form? Do you have a specific form? If that form came, there's a thought already. I'm saying, don't. Thought doesn't disturb. Pot doesn't disturb clay. Right? Clay can accommodate everything. But yet pot has a being. Same way, the entire Jagat has a being without in any way disturbing what is. What is Ishvara. And that Ishvara includes what? Whatever I call I. This body, this mind, these senses, this ahankara, individuality. Everything is what? Ishvara. You feel guilty? Ishvara. You feel hurt? Ishvara. I hate my mother-in-law? Ishvara. Nothing is wrong with that. But understand, we don't stop there. When I say that is Ishvara means what? I am able to let go and let my mother-in-law be. Mother-in-law is only example, okay? Could be equally well son-in-law. Makes no difference. Right? That understanding is what we're looking for. All this is knowledge. But then, how do I keep in touch? So what do we say? All knowledge, Swamiji would call it. See, what is knowledge? Knowledge is predictability. It means predictability. You have a causal status which goes into an effect status. When you see a pot, you know it came from clay. Clay is the cause, pot is the effect. Fabric is the cause, my dress is the effect. You know very clearly what? The connection between cause and effect. Correct? What is science trying to do? What is the very reason for science? Science cannot begin unless it thinks there is a predictability. Cannot begin. Suppose, one day water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Next day it boils at 5 degrees. Third day it boils at 8 degrees. Fourth day it's at 25 degrees. What science are you going to have? One day you weigh yourself, you weigh 56 kilos. Next day you weigh how much? 1/5 the weight. Moon's gravity has come here. Mass is same. Why did weight change? Gravity. And where is gravity? You think it's only in the moon? Only in the sun? It's there even in a tiny particle. Not visible enough for us. So where is gravity? It's there everywhere in the physical world. Right? But where do you recognize it? When you try to lift something heavy, then you recognize it. Or when you feel you have a difficulty lifting your own body, you recognize it. I have gone very heavy. What is heavy? Weight. But now, this whole business is what? Knowledge of physics is gravity. Gravity is knowledge of physics. Archimedes' principle is what? Knowledge of physics. Knowledge alone, right? Now, what is the difference between physics and chemistry and biology? What is life sciences? Knowledge of living beings. What is physics? Knowledge of the physical world. What is chemistry? Knowledge of chemicals. What is psychology? Mind chemistry. See, are these independent knowledges? You treat the mind chemistry with physical chemistry. Correct or not? The fellow talks too much. What do? Put him to sleep. Give him some sedatives so that he won't talk more. Correct? What is this whole body, etc.? Organic chemistry talks about what is organic and inorganic chemistry. What's the difference? What is organic? Nature. Okay, carbon. Is Girijamma here? I don't know. So we had one Dr. Girija. She is in this camp. I don't know if she is here. Yeah, there she is. She is a professor of chemistry. Okay? And she told how once she had a talk here with Puja Swami around, saying how everything is carbon. See, at every level you can recognize. Right? So the point is, Is chemistry knowledge separate from life sciences? What's your blood test report? What is all your salt balance report? Sodium, potassium. Sodium goes low, you go nuts. Then they will think you have a heart attack. Sodium goes low. What's the solution? Eat some salt. Right? So, chemistry, biology, physics, they are all connected really, correct? Yet for our convenience, what do? We have separated them. So Swamiji says, all knowledge, there is predictability. That predictability, he calls it order. You will hear the word order. Order means what? There is order, it's not disorder. If you sow mustard seeds, you don't get brinjal. If you sow mustard seed, what will you get? Mustard plant. If you sow a mango seed, what will you get? Mango plant. If you sow tomato seeds, tomato plant. Suppose you sow tomato and you get mango plant. That is called what? Chaos. You don't know what to do now. Because you planned, okay, I'm going to get some, I need wheat, I'll plant all wheat. And next day you come there, what do you find? You find some mushrooms coming up. What are you going to do? It won't work. You see this, and science observes this, right? So what do we look for? Order. So everything is knowledge, means what? Everything is what? Order. Now, we want to look at this order in different ways. Therefore, Swamiji will give this name now. You add an adjective. Maha order. Samskrita word, okay? Mahan. All inclusive order. Why do I have to use that word? Because now you have physics knowledge, chemistry knowledge, statistics knowledge, biology knowledge, mathematics. In mathematics, you have statistics. In mathematics, you have calculus. Then calculus, you have differential calculus, integral calculus. Right? You have algebra, you have geometry, you have trigonometry. Are they all separate? All knowledge is where? Resides in a conscious being. Who is that conscious being? You. If you are the conscious being, how come you don't know everything? How come you have to study? Go back to your dream. In your dream, there is a patient. He is suffering from COVID. Okay? What does he do? He goes, or he's suffering from some unknown ailment. Okay? What does he do? He goes to the doctor and he says, I have a pain. Right? Patient is what in your dream? Your knowledge. Correct? Doctor is what? Your knowledge. Hospital administration staff is what? Your knowledge. Yet, your knowledge alone. But in the doctor, he knows how to diagnose. In the patient, he doesn't know what I'm suffering from. Your knowledge. Do you see the possibility that all knowledge can appear as small knowledge? And not only small knowledge, insentient. He sends for a blood test. You poke with something and you put in a bottle. Is the bottle sentient? No. Swamiji would say, suppose everything was sentient, what would happen? You are trying to eat. Right? You are trying to eat. Then the spoon will say, why should I let you eat? I'll eat it myself. You took the spoon, you raised it, before it came to your mouth, the spoon ate it up. This is what would happen if everything is sentient, all right? You need Jada and Chetana. You went to pick a pumpkin, and pumpkin saw you coming. It took off. It took off. How do you operate? Won't work. Bhagavan's creation is all intelligence, okay? It's intelligently put together. So now, this patient, this doctor, and then what? He writes a prescription, which only the pharmacist can read. Right? But he reads, and he gives you the remedy. If you ask him, why this medicine? He may not know. He'll say, that doctor has to say. Who is pharmacist? What is the pharmacist's knowledge in your dream? Your knowledge. Doctor's knowledge? Your knowledge. Patient's ignorance? Your knowledge. Right? How many knowledges are there? One. appearing as what? Many. One pot. Okay? Make 5 holes in it. Put a light in it. How many beams of light? 5. How many lights? 1 light. 1 pot. 1 beam. Another beam. 3rd beam. 4th beam. 5th beam. How many knowledges? 1. 1 knowledge is what? It is like a ghata avachinna deepaka. That's how Dakshinamurti Stotra presents it. Nana chidra ghatodara sthita mahadeepa prabha bhaswaram. Nana chidra. So many holes. But how many lamps? 1 lamp. You can say sight is different from hearing. Yes. 1 mind. 1 mind. Sight is different. Hearing is different. Taste is different. But 1 mind. So many minds are there. 1 consciousness. Right? So it is possible. See, dream is such a wonderful example. You can understand what Shastra says through dream. There's no better example. So now, in the dream, the fellow is struggling. He's gone to the doctor. Example has to continue, He's gone to the doctor and he's been diagnosed with fatal disease. He doesn't want to die. Then he goes to a dream sannyasi, a guru. Dream guru. What does he tell him? Isha vasya midagum sarvam. Everything is Ishvara. If he understands, what happens to the patient? There is no patient, there is no doctor, there is no teacher, there is no student. What is? All that is there is Ishvara. And where is he? Everything is. Am I other than that? I am not. This is called Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam. That understanding. So now, what do we have? We have seen Ishvara as all knowledge. And now we see Ishvara as what? Maha order, which includes what? A physical order. A life, biological order. Alright? In biological, you will have what? Botany, zoology. In physics, you will have what? Astrophysics. Whatever the orders are. Engineering, 1 more order. In that, you will have what? Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, chemical engineering. Whatever, you have all these orders. But everything is linked. It's not totally separate. But for convenience, we're separating them. Now, you look at anything. What is this? A clip. What is this? An engineering business. Right? You can recognize Ishvara as order of engineering here. You look at a computer. What is that? Chip. 1 chip of silicon. How come it's so intelligent? The chip has intelligence. From where did it come? From a human being. Where did human intelligence come from? Ishvara. So, chip's intelligence is what? Ishvara. And I can say what? That chip is also Ishvara. Right? Now you see there's a body. Is the body always well? What is constant companion? Roga. We should know what? Jara roga yuktam. Body is, see, one thing. There's only one companion in life with you. Who is that? Who will never leave you, who will always be with you, hover around you. Yama. When you are born, he is already with you. Only he lets you enjoy some sights and sounds for some time, and then chalo. Let's go. You had enough fun. Right? So is there a problem? Even as you are born, you know you have to go. Therefore, for us, Yama is what? Respectable. Yama Raja. We call him Yama Raja. We pray to him. Those who do Sandhyavandanam should do. What do you will say? Yamaya Dharmarajaya Mrityavecha Antakaya Vaivasvataya Kalaya Sarvabhuta Kshayaya. How can you pray to him? How can you pray to Yama? Who is going to reduce you to nothing? No. Yama is a manifestation of Ishvara. Right? So, this body has got sickness, come back. Therefore, is sickness is what? How do I see Ishvara and sickness? That is the physiological order. That's the physiology. Function has dysfunction. Wherever there is function, there is possibility of dysfunction. Swamiji, I feel afraid. When I see a dog, I feel afraid. Even a little dog. Why? Everybody doesn't. Why do you feel afraid? Some background is there. What is that? Psychology. Psychology will tell you why every person has a certain behavior. Some person, you tell him anything, he'll start crying. Some person tell him anything, he'll fight you. Right? Some other person will ignore you. Everything in one class is possible, right? What I say is received differently by each buddhi. How? Because there's a background which is different. What is background? That is also knowledge of Ishvara. Understand, it's all the way Ishvara, but within that, every behavior, every emotion is valid because it is the psychological order of Ishvara expressing itself. That doesn't mean that everything is okay. Therefore, if I kill also, it's order of Ishvara. Why don't I still kill and steal? That's where we get the order of dharma. What is the order of dharma? That which will help you grow into the understanding that all that is Ishvara. What will help a patient in your dream or a fellow who has been diagnosed with a deadly sickness to be free from the worry of being dying, subject to dying? So that whole how to live, satyam vada, dharmanchara, all these, ahimsa you do. Then what? Amanitvam bhitvam, ahimsa kshantirarjavam, acharyopasanam shaucham, sthairyam vinigraha. All values. All the values and attitudes needed to grow into the fullness which is Ishavasyamidam Sarvam is the knowledge which is covered in what we call the order of dharma. What happens if I transgress dharma? Order of karma. All knowledge. We are not talking anything but knowledge. But until I understand, I am this individual. And this individual can understand all that is here is Ishvara, which is not separate from me. So I should be able to say finally what? Aham Ishvaraha Asmi. If I say I am Ishvara, Aham Brahmasmi, is that arrogance? It is if I think this is Ishvara. You are all not Ishvara, you are all insects. I am Ishvara. This is what? Arrogance. This is delusion. What is the knowledge? I am Ishvara and there is nothing but me. Or, simpler, better, all that is here is Ishvara. No chance of arrogance. This is also Ishvara. What do you call this process? Swamiji had a nice word. Ishvaraize everything. You have to Ishvaraize everything. Everything is Ishvara. Therefore, what do you need to do? You need to bring in Ishvara Buddhi with respect to everything. How? Through the knowledge of Shastra. So, Dharma, order of Dharma, order of Karma is available to us only through Ishvara. As what? As Veda. Pramana. Veda Pramana. Figuring out physics, chemistry, you can use what is given to you. Available for discovery. Figuring out Ishvara, all your eyes and ears and mind fall short because they themselves are created. They are looking for their own cause. That's what Swami said. Can you climb on your own? Can you ride on your own shoulders? You can't. Then what should you do? You have to say, Sharanam. I have to go to Ishvara. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. In the beginning, I go to Ishvara as Ishvara is other than me. No problem. First thing is what? Asti Ishvara. There is Ishvara. Then Ishvara, you can't tell a child all this, okay? Don't try to teach Vedanta to a child. Sometimes people ask, Swami, how do I make my children learn? Don't do it. They'll get all messed up. This has to come as an adult, not as a child. But child should be taught what? Asti Ishvaraha. You are accountable for what you do. What comes from the altar called Ishvara. That is the order of karma. Karmani eva adhikaraha te. What about phalam? Result. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Therefore, I won't do anything because I am not in charge of getting the result I want. Ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. Ma te sangostu akarmani. Just because you don't determine what comes, you can't drop karma. Because that karma is what will give you the adhikaritvam, the preparedness for the knowledge that all that is here is Ishvara. So, we need to look at Ishvara as all knowledge. Order, which means anything you see predictability, you see cause-effect relationship. In each one of them, what do you see now? Not just a dumb cause-effect relationship, you see Ishvara's presence. This is Swamiji's brilliant way of helping you recognize Ishvara's presence at every moment. If you go one step further, conscious being is Ishvara. Okay? We'll stop there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.